quick video today to show you how to use our calendar wheel stencil that we came up with over at Journal This. And I'm just going to get right into it. It'll be a real quick video. And at the end, I'll show you my completed page. So the first thing I do with this stencil and the layout for the stencil is on a calendar month of 31 days. I mean, you could make a stencil that would be for a month that had 30 days, but I just figured we could combine a wedge out of the stencil and make a larger section for those months that have 30 days or those that have 28 or 29 days. So let's just get started. The first thing I'm going to do is this little stencil will make a wheel that is approximately 3.5 to 4 inches in diameter. And so I'm just going to make some crosshairs on my page, and I'm just going to do 4 inches. It's overkill, but, and then we're going to do the same thing crossways. Now with this stencil, so we can get all of it onto one of our size stencils that we've developed, we just did half of it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and take a chance and just do it in ink and see if I can pull that off. Okay, and then the first thing we're going to do is this little stability area here so that you don't have these floppy half circles. I just line that up on either side of my pencil line. I don't know if you can see that through. I can in person, but that pencil line goes dead set right in the middle. And because that's just a little bit, like about a 1/16 of an inch off on either side of that line, I'm going to drop my stencil down from my cross line, my horizontal line, by about a 1/16 of an inch as well. And you can see how to place it through the stencil. It's slightly translucent, and it works out just great. Also, I am not going to use all 4 of these lines. I'm just going to use 3. And so let's get started. I'm going to use the inside line like that. And because our stencils are flexible, you don't want to bear down real hard and push against that stencil like that, because it will flex on you a little bit. And I'm going to use the outside line. So basically 4 lines. I used 1, skipped over 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to line them up just like I did the first half, and with that pencil line going right down the middle there and slightly off by about a 1/16 of an inch. And I'm going to just trace those circles in the number 1 spot, number 2 spot, number 3 spot, and number 4 spot. And so we get kind of this bullseye look. And then I just fill in a little bit. And once you color this in, or I'm doing it really quickly here, I can be much neater, but you can just fill in those gaps with your pen as such. All right, now we're going to take the spoke portion of the stencil. And these little spokes should just nick, you can see your circle through it, and you can just see that, you can see how they just barely touch that. Because we're dealing with an odd number of days in the month, we're going to line this up with our horizontal line, and then we're going to straddle these 2 lines between this horizontal line. I hope that makes sense to you, but we're just going to line up this one straight across horizontally, and on this side they're going to straddle as if you were dividing the letter Y in half. So, and then I'm just going to take my line, and I find it really easy to start at your innermost line and draw out. And you're just going to do every one. Just like that. Oops. Trying to keep my hand out of the way. And so there. Now we're going to flip it over and line this one up. Here, I'll put it back in frame. Line that horizontal line up. And now you can see those two lines right there. And now you know that you're lined up perfectly. Maybe scoot it a little bit over. Okay, and then we're going to finish our spokes. These sections are 11.6 degrees apart, and that will give you equal space for 31 days. And then I just connect those to that outside ring. And of course I'm speeding through this because I'm doing a video, and so I would be a lot more neat if I were not doing this video. So there you go. I do find that if I just find a point on the outside of the ring and draw in, I can kind of make it look a little bit neater than if I were to take my pin from the inside out. But you do what works for you. And I drug my hand through the ink. So, but it all can be fixed when we color it up. So there you go. You've got a perfectly spaced 31-day ring. And now we're ready to, actually I'm going to erase my lines without trying to smear my ink any further. The only space is right in there you might want to get rid of. Oh, and of course this vertical line will be slightly through the middle of that ring as well. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about the smearing. All right, so there, just like that. Now, December 1st is on Thursday, and so I am just going to start numbering my sections somewhere. It doesn't really matter on this where you number them, just where you want to. Days. And like I said, the 1st of December is on a Thursday. Thursday, Friday. There you go. And there's all of your weeks, days of the month, and days of the week. So after that, then I would just take it, and what you can decorate it any way you want to. I'm going to actually go ahead and put some holly around the outside since it's for December. And I'm just going to go ahead and use one of our other stencils and just put some holly leaves on this. So right here, the middle between the 27th and the 28th happens to line up with the middle of the 12th. I know I have a engagement at work on that day, so I'm just going to go ahead and enter that in. Also between the 29th and 30th is the middle of the 14th. Another party for me. So what I did was, the first thing I did was I traced my tree. Oopsie, there we go. And I just traced the snow cap portion of the tree with a light gray so I could see where it is. And then I just took my green pencil and I just made some imaginary lines in between as if it were a Christmas tree underneath. And so just sort of like that, and then colored in between. And that makes the snow areas kind of pop. So then I took my cottage, and because I want it behind the tree, I just traced around the door area, and I just traced to here, across, and down. And then I took my stencil away and colored it in. And now, because if you were just to use a stencil look, you could go ahead and trace in this area, or you could just drop it down ever so slightly and go ahead and I'll just do this as brown and then draw that portion. And then that will erase that void, that line that would have been there, and then you can just color that portion in. And you might need to fatten it up a little bit, but that's what makes your drawing look like you created it and it wasn't created from a stencil. I always like to shade around the edges and use a lighter touch towards the middle like that. And because this might be a log cabin or a cedar home, I'm just going to put some little fake logs on that like that. And then the area that this area right here is sort of like a soffit, and once again, that's where your my brown area was, but I'm just going to drop it down so that I can see that peeking up right there. And then I'm going to find a sharp green pencil, and I'm just going to draw that area in. And then take my pencil away and color it. Not quite sure what color this house is supposed to be, but just like that. And there's my finished page. I hope you can see that. I used the winter stencil for the scene in the inside, the calendar wheel stencil for the calendar, and then my Christmas light stencil for the holly design that I put around the edge. Thanks for watching.